here and there. So let's get to today's quote. Nobody has a perfect anything. We don't have perfect lives. We're not perfect beings. By Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight is often referred to as the Empress of Soul, and her talent has entertained people for decades. But when we look at this quote about perfection, it's really true for me is that I'm a recovering perfectionist. Because when you look to have things be continuously perfect, it does a couple of things. It either makes you actually freeze, you don't do anything because you don't really have a standard for perfect. What is perfect? And there's always something more you want to do, or this color isn't right, or this sound isn't right, or you haven't done this or that. And because you always feel that there's more, that there's better that can be done before you put something out, you freeze and you don't do anything at all. And that was me with this podcast. I had talked about this podcast for about a year and a half before I started. And it took on different forms and ways to do it. But I talked about it and I kept telling myself, well, I don't have the right mic, or I don't have the right camera, or I don't know how to set it up. I'm not comfortable in front of a camera. I don't like the way my voice sounds. I have to work on my speech and my enunciations, and I have to understand, because at one point I wanted it to be an interview type of podcast. I don't know how to effectively interview, and there's nothing worse when I watch an interview and I don't get the information that I want because the person asking the questions doesn't know what they're doing, or they're not listening to the person that they talk to, and I end up hating the interview, and I didn't want to be that person. So I found every excuse in the book to not do it, because it was like, if I can't do it perfect, it's not worth doing. But I finally got to the point where I'm saying, no, I need to step out on faith. I need to do this. And hopefully we can all grow together, because as I'm learning these quotes and I'm learning all this wisdom, I'm also learning how to be a podcaster, and I'm learning how to do different things with different types of equipment. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. And hopefully, as I go along, I get a little bit better with each episode. I find my rhythm and my space that satisfies me as a podcaster and you as a listener. And I think that's one of the powerful things about the quote, is that nobody has a perfect anything. And one of the ways I started looking at perfection is that perfection is an end goal over a lifetime. It's not a destination stop along the way. Whereas hopefully we're getting a little bit better each day, a little bit better each week, each month, that we become a better person and continue to grow. Despite any mistakes we make, it's okay to fail, because that's a lesson. It's only a true failure is if we stop, if we don't learn anything from it, if we're not a better person because of it, then that's a true failure. But it's okay to fail as long as we fail forward. And by failing forward, meaning you did learn a lesson, you did take something from it, and then you continue on your journey and added that to your little bag of tips and tricks and things that you use to move forward. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be wrong. And most people don't want that. I am totally guilty of that, especially as when I was younger. I hated being wrong. It just irritated me and it felt like a personal flaw. But I had to grow into the knowledge that no, it's a step along the way. It's something to learn. You're a better person for it because there are a whole lot of people who aren't doing anything at all. So you have to take that step forward. It's okay to make a mistake as long as you acknowledge it and learn from it. Acknowledge it and just say either I can do it better the next time, or this is something where I made a mistake and this mistake cannot be repeated because I know what the outcome is now and I'm moving forward and doing something different or being someone different. That's just, for me, being a recovering perfectionist, because sometimes it still, rears its head, that I have to just look at myself and say, let it go. Or with a group of my friends right now who are also into the podcasting, into doing YouTube and being content creators, we have the phrase right now, do it dirty. Do it. You don't have all your ducks in a row, do it anyway. Because you'll really find out what you're missing, what things you need to learn, what things you need to add. And then you can slowly add that. And it's kind of like making gumbo. You start with a roux. As long as you have like a nice little foundation to jump off of, as you go along, you can add some okra in there. You can add your mirepoix, your celery, your onions. You can add little things into it that makes it more flavorful, that blooms it out into a full gumbo. But you have to start. If you don't start the roux, there is no gumbo. So you have to go out and start it, and it's okay, because like in making a roux, sometimes you overcook it. It's a little bit too brown, too burnt. Sometimes you don't cook it enough. It's a little too blonde and light. You can still taste the flour, not enough oil, but you learn. And it develops flavors and layers and becomes something that is nourishing for everyone. And Gladys Knight, her life is kind of epitome of this, in that she has a autobiography called Between Each Line of Pain and Glory. She describes all her ups and downs from a professional standpoint and in her private life. And one of the things that really, stands out to me is that she was married 4 times. And I'm not gonna front. I've never been married, but I've always told myself that it will be one and done, because I've seen family and friends who have gone through divorce, and that kind of pain and the struggle coming out of it. I was like, oh yeah, I only have the fortitude to do that once, and I wouldn't go back. But to me, her life is a testament to where she never gave up on love. And she learned from each relationship until she got to the husband she's had now for 23 years. And their marriage is flourishing and growing. And I think that's admirable, because like I said, the recovering perfectionist in me has always told me, no, sister, one and done. And then I am out of here. Not doing it again, not giving anybody a chance. to hurt me again. And, in a lot of situations, we do that with friendships too, where you just don't let people get close to you. You don't learn from those relationships because a lot of times it's not all about one person. We all contribute in a relationship and we have to learn and grow. So there's a quote that she uses in this book, and it's bring on the pain, bring on the glory. I will be in this fight to share my gifts, to enjoy my blessings, and to be loved. And I'm like, that is the epitome of her life and career, because she was never the big name, even though she's what they call a singer. And because she was a master stylist, she could create the right emotion. She gets you to feel when she sings. And she had master of her ability to control her vocals, using her body. She used her microphone as an extension of her voice. I mean, she managed to be in a group where they didn't break up and have a fight and everybody's walking away and no one's talking to each other anymore. There were things that she learned that made her career better and made her grow year after year being in the business, seeing how she started as a teenager and she is currently now in her 80s, that cast a powerful legacy across the decades, because she could master ballads and then she could have you grooving to R&B vibes. One of my favorite songs is Love Overboard. And I think that that's a testament to her failing forward, or not even, maybe that's not the right thing. Not failing forward, but learning and growing at each stage. Learning and growing from each stop, from each producer, from each writer, because she's also known as being generous with praise and not hogging the spotlight. And one of the famous songs that she sings in with her friends, that's what friends are for. Their voices blend and play off of each other because no one is trying to dominate over the other. And I think that is a lesson she learned over her life, is to let her talent speak for itself. She doesn't bulldoze in any room or on any stage. She's giving and loving, and she never stops, because that is who she is, and she learns her lessons and she incorporates that and she keeps growing. And I think that's a life lesson that we can all use, that we can all remind ourselves of constantly. Let us look at this week's challenge. Create your own definition of success that prioritizes progress over perfection. What does that look like for you? So take a moment out, put that down in the comments of what does it look like that you're getting 1% better, let's say every day, or 1% better every week. Do we learn and treat our lives like when you work out with a trainer and they want your strength to grow every week and your weight goes up, but it's only by a small percentage each week. But before you know it, over time, you are stronger than what you could have ever imagined. And I think that applies as well to us for our overall life. That if we look at becoming a better person, a little bit better each day, a little bit more of that each week, when we look back at how far we've come, we can be grateful. And as I said before, instead of looking at perfection as a destination, to put a positive spin on perfection, we can look at it over the course of a lifetime. That each day I'm perfecting myself, I'm getting better and better. There's no end in sight, because if I'm perfect and I don't need anything, then why am I still here? If I'm not learning, I'm not growing, and I'm not giving, if there's no other places for me to give, no other things for me to learn, then my life is over. And so as long as we're living and breathing and doing, we should be learning and growing and giving and doing more. So to put that positive spin on perfection, look at perfection over a lifetime as opposed to being, let's say, the perfect wife, the perfect friend, the perfect mother, the perfect daughter. If anything, those things grow incrementally, hopefully over time. And you become better at it the longer you go, because you never really know a person, or you never truly understand about a whole situation one time, because everyone else is growing. Because the only thing that's consistent is change. And in the words of a friend of mine, he says, done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done. Shout out to Derek Harper, that his favorite phrase is, done is better than perfect, because perfect never gets done. This podcast is recorded audio and video by Ecamm. Ecamm helps you show up organized and structured for your meetings, podcasts, live streams, and, like this podcast, offline recordings. To find more about Ecamm, click the link in the description below. Thank you again for sharing your time with us in our Gumbo kitchen. Please leave a positive review and comment about the challenge. Remember, you are enough, and we must take our stories and our voices seriously, because they matter. You are always welcome to pull up a chair and bring a friend, because there's always room for more at the table. The gumbo is hot and made with love, and we will see you next week.
Gather round, y'all. It's time to groove.